Hello, I'm Richard Kauntze, Chief Executive of the British Council for Offices, the BCO, and welcome to the latest in our series of interviews with prominent members we call The New Normal. Each week, I talk to a member about the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on the office sector. Now, in this week's interview, our discussion centres around the theme of contracting and the office fit-out. And I'm absolutely delighted to be able to say that my guest to talk about all of that is Clare Ashmore. So welcome, Clare.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Clare, and thank you very much for kindly agreeing to spend some time with me today. Now, for those who may not know, for the past 20 years, Clare has been at Parkeray, a main board member for 14 of those 20 years. Clare was promoted to Chief Operating Officer in January this year. So congratulations again, Clare, on that. Together with all the usual responsibilities of a COO, Clare has a keen drive on well-being, brand, and ethos. Clare has long focused on developing young people within the industry through groups such as Young Entrepreneurs in Property and Women in Property, and of course, the BCO. And at the BCO, Clare has been an outstanding supporter for many years and a long-serving member of our board of management. And Clare's primary BCO focus at the moment is as the chair of our mentoring committee, a key element in our support for our next gen members. So welcome again, Clare. It's great to have you with us. And I'm very grateful to you for spending some time with me today. Now let's go straight to questions, if I may. And you're breaking a record, Clare, which is very interesting because you are the first person that I've interviewed in this series who is in the office.
I know.
So, indeed. So this breaks the record, as I say. So I'd be grateful if you could tell us about that, and also if you could explain to us the practicalities of social distancing in the office, how it's working in operation.
It's actually working very, very well. I guess like most contractors, we didn't have much time for a complete shutdown. So, you know, I guess some people have always been open. We did close and do a sort of like a hard reopen. We shut for about 3 weeks and ended up putting stickers all over the office, our brand new office, heartbreaking, but they're incredibly necessary. You come back in and you're with your friends and you're back into normal. It's not a new normal. You walk through the door and it's just normality. It feels normal. So you need the signage as a reminder to actually social distance. You know, we've implemented a one-way system, one person in the lift, entrance via the stairs. We've taken chairs out of meeting rooms. A 6-person meeting room is now a 1-person meeting room. 12-person meeting room is a 2-person meeting room. It is a changed world. I mean, we have 70 workstations and another 40 areas that people can work. It was always centred around well-being and choice and collaboration and bringing people together. And we've actually, by law and legislation and what we believe is healthy and safe, we've actually stipulated a maximum of 16 people at any one time in 8,500 square feet. So
that is extraordinary. So, I mean, that is a 16 for 8,500 square feet. That is quite a drop. So, as a proportion of the normal workforce who would be in the office, Clare, what's the rough percentage of how many that is?
It's changed. It's changed over the period actually. So we reopened on the 17th of April. That actually came in. You know, we commissioned everything, and I came in a couple of days before to make sure everything was signed correctly and safe for everybody. And it started off with 2 or 3. You know, we opened it to support our front line. We didn't have a choice. Our sites had to reopen. But we had to give somewhere to go to our services managers and our commercial managers, and our teams that are visiting sites. They had to have somewhere to come, and we had to give them office support. So I guess it started 2 or 3 at a time. We're full maximum today. There's 16 people in today, and we're literally having to work out timings. So our office manager is very strict on managing the process, but you have to be. So someone was at my desk until 10 o'clock. We have a full deep clean in between, and I was able to occupy at 11:15. So we are able to double up on some positions, but yeah, you have to be quite strict about it. But the more people that come in, the more people want to come in.
It's very encouraging, Claire. In my experience, office managers are always very strict, wherever you are, whatever the conditions. But I'm delighted it's working so well. Now, you mentioned sites, Claire, and obviously, Parkeray, that the nature of the business is contracting. So let's jump to the fit out, if I may. Now, you're a specialist in office fit outs. How far has that work, Claire, been able to continue during the pandemic, and what have been the biggest challenges that you faced?
It was actually the decision making, which is, I guess, linked with the first part of the question, was how well it was able to continue. I mean, it was making a very, very difficult decision over that weekend of the 20th of March. On the Friday it was announced that pubs and bars were all going to shut on the Saturday, and it wasn't then announced until the following Monday that there was going to be an enforced lockdown. Over that weekend, we had probably close to about 7 hours worth of board meetings, over 3 board meetings as a board. We met virtually, and we made a decision over that weekend that construction sites are not safe to run under the current guise as they were, to incorporate social distancing. I believe we may have been one of the first, if not the first, fit-out contractor to shut our sites over that weekend. So the evening of the 22nd, all of our subcontractors and suppliers and our clients were informed, and we made a decision to shut sites, to reevaluate, reassess, to see if we were able to reopen our sites. Some we reopened within a couple of days because they were safe. People could get there. Others, we had to do massive, really in-depth dynamic risk assessments on every site, and every site is different. So the vast majority we were able to open by the 17th of April, and the following Monday pretty much every site was back up and running. But probably most contractors, we were able to take a step back, assess the situation, and then reopen in a safer, rebadged, re-signed environment. Some of the issues, I guess the second issue that we had was the planning of it, to get consistency across all of our sites. It's like all fit-out contractors, we're working in a vast array of buildings. Some are very old buildings, some are brand new tall buildings. I think Bill Price mentioned last week about transport being an issue, but talking about vertical transport. Transport was the next issue. The actual implementation of change was quite simple. We had huge support from our clients and our subcontractor teams and our staff. They were hugely supportive and understanding of it. But to actually get people to the site and into the building and onto the floor was the next challenge. And some of the taller, newer buildings were the most challenging, actually.
Very, very interesting, Claire. I mean, transport has been a theme in this series, but I'm enormously impressed. I mean, that is a remarkable speed with which the business has travelled in getting those sites up and running again, and really very, very impressive. I mean, the challenges must have been immense. I'd like, you mentioned that your clients, and I'd like to jump to the client, the occupier, the ultimate client of any project. Now, none of us, of course, know how this will end, and everything depends on a vaccine or an effective treatment. But accepting this, when do you think that occupiers will be ready to commit to a major change in the shape of office fit-outs, or will they simply be looking for a short-term fix and perhaps another short-term fix after that?
In all honesty, Richard, I think people need to get back to work to find out. It's almost impossible to sit at home and try and decide what the future of workplace is likely to look like until you're back in. So, you know, don't travel. If you can work from home, you should be working from home. You should be following government legislation. But if you need to be in, as various parts of my role, I need to be in. I'm in today. I think this is the 4th time I've been in the office. And people use the office in very, very different ways. And I think until you're back in, people won't be able to make a considered decision. We made a very quick fix to open. We had to reopen. You know, we blocked off desk positions, but those desks are still there. And it depends. I think it depends on where you are in your lease. It depends if you're looking to move. It depends if you're in the middle of a design. There are certain things that you can bring into design now. But I do believe people need to get back to work. And they need to feel the environment for themselves to really make that decision and to really see how their staff want to work. Because until they have their staff back, I think it's very, very difficult to decide.
Very, very interesting. And again, you know, unsurprisingly, a theme in this series has been the importance of the office as an entity that brings people together and allows social interaction and teams. And you're absolutely right, Clare. I couldn't agree more. You know, until people actually come together and return to offices. And for many, though, that is going to be some way down the line, because as you mentioned, the government's instruction is still that those who are able to work from home should continue to do so. So for many businesses, it's going to be quite some way down the line. Yeah, but I'd like to move on, Clare, if I may, to the quality of the product that we produce and how it compares with elsewhere. Now, we do office fit outs exceptionally well, but how do you see us in the UK compared with other markets in terms of the quality of what we do?
I've been at Parkeray 20 years and a little bit institutionalised, I guess, working in London. But I have been to every BCO conference for the last 15 years. So I guess I can use those tours as an example. And after coming back, I'm always hugely proud of what we produce in the UK. I think we innovate. I do believe that we embrace change. I think that we question what people want all the time. You know, all the time we question what people want as employers and as an industry. And I think that we're quite pioneering, having seen other offices elsewhere in the world. In the last 20 years or 25 years of working in London, I see how London's changed and the skyline has changed and the offices have changed. And how certain sectors within the office have changed. The change that's happened within sectors like insurance and legal. I like to think that we hold our own in the world, really.
Well, I could not agree more, Clare. I mean, I think I've mentioned this in one or two of the other interviews, but you know, generally looking at the quality of the office product in its broadest sense, and of course the fit out is a fundamental element of that. I think gets better and better every year, and I seldom go anywhere else where I see something is better. And I think, you know, the industry should be immensely proud of the quality of what it produces. I'm conscious of time, Clare, but I've got time for one more, if I may, and this is on a theme that I know is very, very important to you, and you have a great passion for it, and that is the young. And you've been a superb supporter of the BCA's Next Gen Mentoring Initiative, established under Katrina Costick-Thamon's year when Katrina was president. But looking more generally, looking beyond the BCO at the industry as at large, what more do you think the construction sector needs to do to attract the very best in the young to the industry?
I think it's got to start with the schools, Richard. I think our mentoring program and the support that you get in the workplace is quite impressive. But I think we need to start with the schools. So many times I've seen work experience students who haven't been fully utilised when they come into the workplace. You know, they get given a bit of photocopying to do, or maybe making a cup of tea. But it's I think embracing with work experience students is an amazing start, because they're going to be going back to their classmates and telling what an incredible experience they had and how diverse the industry is. I think the industry as a whole maybe needs to focus a bit more on trainee schemes and apprenticeships, and taking on maybe some college, university summer students into the workplace to try and spread the load a little bit. I think young people need to be around people to learn. I think not having an office environment when bringing young people through the business. So we do a trainee scheme here, which is 5 years. We've got 3 graduating with honours next week. But over a 5-year period, the learning that they get by sitting next to someone doing the same job as them, and learning from people that have already been through our trainee scheme and understand their areas of learning that need focus, that's hugely important. And you can't get that unless our offices are open. I think maybe the future of our industry actually isn't just what we produce, it's actually where we work. So
I think you're absolutely right, and sort of getting young people into that experience of work as early as possible, just to get a taste of what it's like to be in an office environment, and understanding what that feels like, and the shape of it is enormously important and actually exciting for them, and shows the variety and the quality of what goes on, and how fun it can actually be. Clare, we are out of time, sadly. These things always whiz by. I'm extremely grateful to you for spending some time with me. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Many congratulations again on winning the prize for being the first of my guests in this series who's been in the office. It's been a huge pleasure. Thank you very much to all of you who watched this. Until next time, from Clare and from me, thank you very much.